Right now, as you're listening to this, you're carrying a universe inside you. Roughly 7 octillion atoms make up your body. That's a 7 followed by 27 zeros. It's a number so vast it's almost meaningless. But hear what isn't meaningless. Almost every single one of those atoms, the carbon in your muscles, the calcium in your bones, the iron flowing through your blood, was forged inside a star that lived and died long before our sun was even born. This isn't a metaphor, it's not poetry. It is one of the most profound and well-established facts in all of science. To understand how, we have to go back, way back. 13.8 billion years ago, the universe began. It wasn't an explosion in space, but an explosion of space itself. In the very first 3 minutes, the entire universe was an incredibly hot, dense soup where the simplest elements were born. Hydrogen about 75% and helium about 25%. And that was pretty much it. There was no carbon, no oxygen, no iron. None of the ingredients necessary for life as we know it. We can see the proof of this in the cosmic microwave background. The faint afterglow of the Big Bang, it's a baby picture of the universe. And it shows a cosmos with no complex chemistry, just simple gas. So if the Big Bang only made hydrogen and helium, where did everything else come from? The answer is my favorite 4-letter word, stars. For 200 million years after the Big Bang, the universe was dark. A cosmic dark age. Vast, silent clouds of hydrogen and helium drifted through the expanding void. But gravity, relentless and patient, began to pull these clouds together. As they collapsed, they compressed. And as they compressed, they heated up. When the core of one of these collapsing clouds reached a blistering 15 million degrees, a miracle happened. Nuclear fusion ignited. A star was born. The very first stars were unlike anything we see today. They were giants, hundreds of times more massive than our sun. They lived fast and died young, burning through their fuel in just a few million years. And inside these stellar furnaces, the real magic began. A star is an element factory. It shines by fusing hydrogen into helium. But in the most massive stars, the process doesn't stop there. As the star ages, its core gets hotter and denser, allowing helium atoms to fuse into carbon. Then carbon fuses into neon, neon into oxygen, oxygen into silicon. Layer by layer, like a cosmic onion, the star builds heavier and heavier elements. Finally, in the last day of its life, at a staggering 3 billion degrees, it creates iron. And with iron, the star has signed its own death warrant. You see, fusing elements up to iron releases energy. That's what holds the star up against its own gravity. But fusing iron absorbs energy. The furnace goes out. In less than a second, the star's core collapses under its own immense weight, reaching a quarter of the speed of light. It slams into itself and rebounds, sending a cataclysmic shockwave hurtling outwards. This is a supernova, an explosion so violent it briefly outshines an entire galaxy. This explosion does 2 crucial things. First, it scatters all those elements the star so painstakingly created: the carbon, the oxygen, the silicon across light years of space, enriching the cosmos. Second, the sheer energy of the explosion itself forges elements even heavier than iron. In a flash of unimaginable power, atoms of gold, platinum, and uranium are created. This is where your jewelry comes from. The James Webb Space Telescope recently gave us a stunning view of the remnants of supernova 1987A, showing these newly forged heavy elements still glowing in the wreckage. But supernova aren't the only cosmic forges. Sometimes the collapsed cores of 2 dead massive stars, known as neutron stars, end up orbiting each other. A neutron star is an object of pure insanity, more mass than our sun, crushed into a sphere the size of a city. As these 2 stellar corpses spiral closer, they eventually collide in an event called a kilonova. In 2017, we detected the gravitational waves from one of these collisions for the first time. The data showed that this single violent event created 10 Earth masses of gold and 50 Earth masses of platinum. Think about that. When you hold a piece of gold, you are holding the debris from a collision between 2 stellar zombies. For billions of years, this cycle repeated. Generations of stars were born, they lived. They manufactured heavy elements, and they died, seeding the universe with their ashes. These ashes, the stardust, mixed into new vast clouds of gas. And about 4.6 billion years ago, one of these enriched clouds began to collapse. At its center, Our sun ignited, a second or perhaps third-generation star, built from the recycled remnants of its long-dead ancestors. In the disk of gas and dust spinning around the young sun, tiny grains of stardust began to stick together. Dust became pebbles. Pebbles became boulders. Boulders became planets. Our Earth is literally built from stardust. And we have direct proof. Scientists have found tiny, microscopic crystals called prosolar grains locked inside meteorites. These grains are older than our own solar system. They formed in the atmospheres of dying stars billions of years ago, traveled across interstellar space, and were incorporated into the cloud that formed our planet. Even more recently, NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission brought back samples from the asteroid Bennu, finding organic molecules and phosphates, the building blocks of life itself, preserved for 4.5 billion years. The ingredients were here from the start. Now let's bring this all back home. To you, by atom count, about 60% of you is hydrogen. Most of that hydrogen is primordial, forged in the Big Bang 13.8 billion years old. It has never been inside a star. But if we look at you by mass, the story changes. 97% of your body mass is made of heavier elements. And every single atom of that 97% was created inside a star. The oxygen you're breathing right now, the oxygen that makes up most of your body mass, forged in the core of a massive star over 12 billion years ago. The carbon that forms the backbone of every single molecule in your body, created through a delicate nuclear dance called the triple alpha process inside a dying star. The nitrogen in your DNA, the calcium in your bones, the phosphorus that powers your cells, all synthesized in stars and blasted out into space by supernova. And the iron in your blood, the very atoms that are carrying oxygen through your veins this exact moment. They were forged at 3 billion degrees in the final, frantic day of a star's life before it exploded. The great astronomer Carl Sagan famously said, "We are made of star stuff." He wasn't being poetic. He was being scientifically precise. Every major discovery since he said those words, from the Planck satellite, to the LIGO gravitational wave detectors, to the James Webb Space Telescope, has only deepened and confirmed this incredible truth. You're not just living in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself. You are a specific, temporary arrangement of atoms that the cosmos has spent 13.8 billion years gathering and assembling. Atoms from the Big Bang. Atoms from giant stars. Atoms from exploding stars. Atoms from colliding stellar corpses. All of them found their way here now to become you. And someday your atoms will return to the cosmos. They will scatter and mix, and perhaps billions of years from now, they will become part of new stars, new planets, and maybe even new life. Your story did not begin with your birth, and it will not end with your death. It's a cosmic story, and it never, ever ends. Thanks for watching. If this blew your mind, be sure to subscribe for more journeys into the cosmos.